Hey everyone. So we were going through all of your brilliant videos and we were thinking, well, we put this off a long time. We were trying to think of something cool and clever and SGLAE to do. But then we realized that, this is like the end of it. We've been studying philosophy for 4 years and it's got to like matter more than just being clever. So we figured instead of just being clever, we'd be a little bit more personal about this assignment. For after all, it's how we relate to the truth of our philosophy than actually the truth of it. So we're going to do something a little bit more personal.
So we decided that going through the end of philosophy and coming to the end of our 4 years at Scranton, that we want to talk about this class and our faith and how our faith journey has informed and influenced in our lives, also in the context of tragedy versus comedy. And the three questions that we're asking ourselves are, why do we believe in God? What does the leap of faith look like for us? And in the face of absurdity in our daily lives, how do we choose comedy over tragedy? So, my friend, why do you believe in God?
Um, I believe in God for a few reasons. One of them is very similar to what Dwayne likes to say about, I believe Nietzsche's right 99% of the time, except he's fundamentally wrong. Basically, I don't want to believe in Nietzsche, Nietzsche's world. More kind of emotionally than that, I think my encounter with the world is one that's beautiful and inspiring and emotional, but it's also really awful and effed up and tragic. And there's this really interesting, I guess, paradox, if we're doing Kierkegaard, between the two. And there's this tension. And of course, I'm an English major, and like all the best art, I think, sits in that tension between how wonderful and how terrible life can be. And the word that like I keep thinking to describe the world is broken. And I don't think that it's evil. I don't think that it's wrong, because then beauty doesn't make sense, but that there's something beautiful that like got snapped. And that only means something if there's something else there causing the beauty in the first place, if that makes sense. So I see like that's how I work through the kind of the complexities. Like the goodness is the foundation. God said it was good, but there's just something snapped and we have to figure it out. So there's got to be a God there somewhere. Otherwise, there's nothing there to be broken.
No, I totally agree with that. When Nietzsche was like,
So
yo. when
yeah.
he,
So what about you?
it was like, reading him, it's like, yeah, like this is so yes, but then it's also like, no, like this is insane. You can't, like, how is this? And like I just refuse to accept that that's all there is to this life. And so I personally think that there has to be a higher power somewhere out there. Like this isn't it. Like this can't be it. Like there has to be more. And that's why I believe in God, because I just think that, Aquinas is one of the old Tommy Boy is like my go-to, where he's like, there has to be this divine creator, because we're so magical. I mean, look, we're made of billions and trillions of cells, but somehow we're human beings, and all of these cells and intricacies work. And there has to be something greater than us that made that happen. Like there has to be. There can't be nothing. So
And either option is absurd. They're all equally absurd. It's absurd to say we're here without a higher being or a cause, and it's absurd to say that we are, because then like, okay, so there's like that doesn't make sense.
precisely. And so I just choose to believe that there was a higher being, because that's what gives me hope. So, Catherine, our next question. So, what does a leap of faith look like for you? Knowing that you believe in God, what is this leap of faith that Kierkegaard talks about?
Like for me, I can't think of like, I feel like at times like it's a decision that's been made for me based on what I was born into, but it's also a decision, especially I think one of the best things about SGLA has been like being forced to kind of face these questions more regularly based on what we're reading and everything. And I think if it's really in like it comes up in daily life, but it's what makes it a leap of faith. It's only real if you're recognizing the absurdity of it and you're staring into the possibility that it's not real before you say no, but I believe this anyways. that makes it a leap of faith. And I don't know about you, I get moments where I'm just like, no, this is all just a simulation. It's a blimp in time and space. It's just an absolute bizarre coincidence, and in a split second, it's all going to be out, and that's it. So I do go there, but then you can make the conscious decision to say, I see you, existential dread. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just gonna jump into something hopefully better. How about you?
I love the notion of like leaping into faith, like falling in love, leaping into faith, just because I mean, when I think about what I believe in this man who turned water into wine, who raised a man from the dead,
Cool.
who like died himself and then rose again 3 days later. Like that's insane. Like that's that's like black magic. It's crazy. But somehow, some way, that man saved us. And just like, though it sounds so crazy and absurd, and like when you go to church and you're sitting down and you're standing up and you're saying these, words that are just so repetitive, you're like, what is happening? But it's like, that's what gives me hope and what makes me think that there has to be something greater. I mean, who would have come up with a man rising 3 days later? Who would have thought of, Lazarus dying only to be risen again? Like that, you can't think of that unless it actually happened. And so that's why I feel like, you know what, let's bite the bullet, let's go, let's believe, let's take that. But I also think that with a leap of faith, it's like a constant questioning too, where like there's that tension that you talked about, where it's like, yes, I believe that this man was alive and he happened and he was there and he's God, he's also man, and this crazy Trinity aspect. But I also feel that like a leap of faith is also questioning it. Like you're not going in blind, but you're like constantly questioning it, constantly wrestling with it, but still having that hope and that belief that, yeah, this is it. And so that's leap of faith for me.
Funny, I said existential dread, and then this crazy storm started outside, so that's going on around me right now. Yeah, it's cool, and it's kind of scary. Like I feel like I don't want it to ever stop being kind of scary. But it's cool, but it's also comforting.
It is. It's like that weird, like I think you mentioned it earlier, but it's like that beautiful, like tragic thing where it's like it's so terrifying, and like parts of me are like, oh, I don't want to even venture close to it, but it's so drawing where it's like, yeah, like let's explore it, like a haunted house, like you're always saying, don't go in there, but stupid kids always go in there, and it just, you're drawn to it. So yeah. So the last question that we contemplated or thought about were why do we choose comedy over tragedy in the face of this absurd?
Why? So I was saying earlier before we hit record that I am very drawn to the tragic. I mean, when we're reading Kierkegaard or anything, I mean, I like tragedy. I wish I could see myself as like the tragic heroine just going into the absurdity of life. Like that's sexy. The tragic, Hamlet's sexy, and this kind of grappling with unrelenting doom, like it's attractive aesthetically. But I think it goes back to like things being broken, that I feel like that only makes sense if it's possible to fix it, or if there's a hole somewhere, like a version of things being whole, and coming back around. And then the question is like, can we just laugh at the fact that it's broken for a bit now, and like find this, because it doesn't make sense that a good God would kind of put us in the situation. I don't think you can really reason that either. So you kind of have to say, okay, but this is it. So let's let's buckle up. I don't know, but the why, yeah. Why do you choose it?
So I'm the complete opposite of you. Yes, the tragedy is sexy, but I hate it. I don't like tragedy. I am like, whenever I'm reading something, I always go for like that underdog, the jester, like when you have the king and queen. I don't care about the king, don't care about the prince, I want the jester. Give me the jester. And I just feel like, I guess it's very similar to what you were saying, that in the face of this tragedy and absurdity, all you can really do is laugh. And I feel that laughter, it's kind of like that, where you can trick your mind to thinking that things are better than they really are if you just believe it. Like for me, it's like, there is something better out there. Like in the beginning of like the Bible, they talk about Eden, the paradise that there is. So I feel that if someone had thought of the paradise, and there must have been a paradise. So of course, one day we have to be able to go back there and experience that and live that, and that we're just, laughing our way through there until we can get to that perfection again. So I always choose the laughter.
I kind of like hate the rational idea of paradise.
What do you mean?
Like, I know that sounds terrible. Like, I want everybody to be happy, but I also like think that sounds so boring. So like, I'm like, no, I'm holding on because I'm like, no, that's just because of your limited like scope of, physical realm in which you are. Like, paradise can be cool and interesting in its own way, I hope. But that's something I'm just like, I'm like, dang, you don't get Shakespeare if you don't have war and violence and sickness and adultery. Like, that sounds boring.
True, everyone will be happy and loved. So I don't know.
But I trust, and there's a leap of faith that it'll be okay. Like,
yeah.
That actually people, getting along and being nice will be worth it, and not boring old farts.
Yeah.
So how does so I guess you kind of answered that it's easier for you to like choose to embrace like the comic,
mm-hmm.
But like, is that kind of a constant choice? Like, how does your choice of faith relate to, besides, like, does that make sense? Like, how do you choose like to live
I think it's
that out?
I still constantly question my faith all the time, and like my favorite, like I always take theology classes, and those are always what got me thinking and questioning everything. And so I feel that I'm constantly choosing that, but because I've taken the leap of faith, and I believe that like God is love, and that and because we're made in the image of God, we're made for love, that love itself is like the strongest power. So like Nietzsche talks that, like at the end of everything, the only drive that we have is the will to power. But I refuse to believe that, because I feel that, Daniel Sappy here, but I feel that we're created from love. So like love is the ultimate end that we're to come to. And so that's why I constantly choose like to believe and hope and have that leap of faith and choose the comedy, because I feel that we're not creatures, we're not like animalistic creatures, we're not driven by power, but like we're infused and made, and like our very beings are love, and that we're to love. And so I just constantly choose to try and engage in acts that are more love oriented. So yeah.
I guess that's comic. Because it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like, because we're in a world where there's also war, but you're like, no, I'm going to say that love's the most important thing and go and hug my kitty and think that that's really important. And it's absurd, and everything else is going on, but you can kind of laugh at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we're probably way over time.
I know. But, that's what we got from the end of philosophy and from our time in SGLA. So
make those leap of faith, y'all.
Yeah. Question things. Believe in love. Bye.